We also have breaking news in the NFL today. The Vikings have fired their GM, Kwesi Adofo-Mensah. He's out. He's been with the team for quite some time. And the announcement of the firing of their GM, and then also the ownership group posting that Rob Brzezinski, the executive vice president of football operations for the Vikings, will run the team's front office through the 2026 draft. So the search for a new GM will be after the draft this upcoming season. So the Vikings will go through free agency and the draft process without a GM in place, and they will look in the summer for a GM, which sounds ass backwards because essentially all of the hiring and firing and filling of roles around the National Football League, it's kind of taken place to this point. You're seeing new GMs land in places this week. There's not a lot of openings left. You have 2 head coaching openings that are still remaining with the Raiders and the Cardinals. But shocking news today, the Vikings fire GM Kwesi Adofo-Mensah.
Yeah, the timing is weird. He was just at the Senior Bowl this week. That's going on this weekend, and all the practices and all of the, scouting takes place. They play the actual bowl later this weekend, but all of the scouting happens this week, and everybody's been, on Twitter saying, I just talked to him, just saw him there. But if you look at what people are saying as far as NFL insiders go, the Diana Rossinis of the world, the Jeremy Fowlers, Adam Schefters, this is not that surprising to them. There was a rift with Kevin O'Connell and Kwesi Adofo-Mensah, and this had been building for quite some time. And whether it was about personnel, whether it was about the current quarterback situation, the fact that they let Sam Darnold walk, the fact that they let Daniel Jones walk and his success with Indianapolis until he was injured, and then having Carson Wentz in the building, which didn't work out, and then also now having J.J. McCarthy in the building, who's not working out right now. And if you look at Kwesi Adofo-Mensah's draft record, it's not good. So the team has really been lucky to win 14 games last year, and then as many, they're at the bottom of the division this year. So to me, this is surprising given the timing. You would have want to do this, a couple weeks ago around Black Monday at the end of the season, so you could have done all these interviews. And it also says to me, if you've got this in place and you're going to have Kevin O'Connell as your head coach, he's going to be the guy that is going to be making these decisions on the draft. Like, I understand that you have Rob Brzezinski in place to oversee the draft and do some of these personnel decisions and making these picks, and he's your interim GM. But I don't think that this move is made without Kevin O'Connell's okay, because he's going to be making the offensive decisions, and Brian Flores, who signed a new contract after not getting a head coaching job this cycle, is going to be making the defensive decisions.
Well, the timing is what's weird. You're right. People around the NFL are pointing to the fact that this isn't necessarily a surprising move. It's just surprising that it's taking place today. Today is January 30th, right? Like, next week is Super Bowl week. This is a little late in the process to figure this stuff out. Kevin Seifert works for ESPN. He put this on social media recently. Quote, "There have been rumors for weeks about this, even after Kwesi Adofo-Mensah gave his postseason press conference on January 13th. He has been at the Senior Bowl this week. Every time I checked, I've been told there were no plans to make changes. This was a very recent decision," end quote, from Kevin Seifert. So this is something that just happened. There was also a reporter, I believe from The Athletic, Alec Lewis. He put out there, he covers the Vikings for The Athletic. He wrote, "Talking to Vikings staffers, this was not at all expected to happen at this point in the calendar. Many are blindsided. There had certainly been a lot of tension in recent weeks and months, and a lot of murkiness within the decision-making process." So people around the Vikings are stunned at this move. And I think that is exactly how we felt when we saw about an hour ago that this news broke on social media that the Vikings are firing their GM this late in the game. It's not a surprise. And we can run through the draft picks for the Vikings in recent years. We can talk about the fact that perhaps this is a decision that has been made this week because look at our Super Bowl matchup. New England, Seattle. Drake May against Sam Darnold. Yeah. Sam Darnold last year was a very successful quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings. He blew up in the playoffs. Wasn't good in the playoffs. But during the season, the team won 14 games. He was a part of it. How much of a part of it, we could debate. The same debate we're going to have this year with Seattle. How much of a part of this is Sam Darnold with the Seahawks run? You know, he had a hell of a game in the NFC Championship game, but at times at the end of the season, Sam Darnold didn't look great. And that's kind of who he is. He's a quarterback that can play well. Sometimes he doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
That might be good enough for most teams when you then move off of a guy like that because you think you can find better, and you have J.J. McCarthy. And I don't know if a Viking fan can call us today and defend J.J. McCarthy after seeing the way he played last season. The kid isn't very good. He just isn't. Can he develop into a better quarterback? I'm sure he will. But right now, he is far behind the others of his draft class. Bo Nix, Drake May, who's in the Super Bowl, Caleb Williams in his division. There are other quarterbacks from his draft class that are clearly head and shoulders above and better than J.J. McCarthy. And it was all a decision to move off of Sam Darnold to go that direction. And there you get today, GM fired for the Vikings. It's a stunning turn of events based on the timing of this taking place today.
Well, the problem is the one guy, there's like 3 or 4 guys I could think of, and top 2, and he might not be 2, to develop a quarterback is Kevin O'Connell. So I wouldn't want J.J. McCarthy to go anywhere else because I can point to Sam Darnold and Daniel Jones. You and I were literally joking yesterday, saying that, and the day before, saying that Daniel Jones just had to breathe the same air as Kevin O'Connell. And look what he did in Indianapolis. Like, Kevin O'Connell is the quarterback whisperer. And so the fact that J.J. McCarthy had a year to sit because of injury, like, it's not that he just, they chose to sit him. He was injured for an entire year.
Yeah.
And then he comes back and it wasn't productive. And then he's injured again. And then he comes back and it's still not productive. And he had a decent last few games, but at that point, the team was out of it. So it didn't really matter. It was garbage time football. And the team was done. And he's got, the problem is too, what you and I have talked about as the recipe to prop up a good young quarterback is there. They have a great defense.
Mm-hmm.
They've got a great front seven. They've got everything there.
And the coordinator's back in the mix. Brian Flores is back. So
they've got one of the best wide receivers in the NFL, and Justin Jefferson. And what more could you ask for if you're a young quarterback than Kevin O'Connell, a great defense, and Justin Jefferson? What more could you want?